Everybody, it's been reported by the one and only Game Ranks, the OGs, that Helldivers 2 may be coming to Game Pass this month. What? What? Pray tell. Pray tell. Well, let's see what they have to say. You may not want to believe it, but this rumor has popped up before. We have a big rumor about Xbox Game Pass, which apparently cannot be named. But I don't know what that means. The rumor can't be named, or Game Pass can't be. I don't know what that means. In the latest episode of Mr. Boomstick's XL's X Vlog Live, Jesus, I gotta up my naming game. A live YouTube podcast, he discussed a very vague rumor with his co-host, C Money. Okay, I'm sorry. I seriously don't know. I don't know if this is real. Are these like actual people? Mr. Boomstick's XL's X Vlog Live. I'm Googling this because like that sounds a little made up, doesn't it? Like that sounds a little made up, but no, apparently it's real. Mr. Boomstick XL and C Money Forever. Okay, I stand corrected. It's a real podcast. I didn't know that that's what it's called, but it's a real name. Yeah, my name is my name. Exactly. My channel name is my name. That's why I'm saying I got to up my game because like this just flows off the tongue. Mine's just Luke's Day Events Live. Like, it's so boring. Mr. Boomstick XL's X Vlog Live. Like, that's just fun to say. Wherever you are right now, I don't care if you're at a funeral, try saying this out loud, just right now, under your breath. Also, why are you listening to this in a funeral? Forget about it. Mr. Boomstick's XL's X Vlog Live. Like, it's just fun to say. It's just fun to say. Anyway. Boomstick alludes to a rumor that he was told just the day before, and C Money concurs that he knows what that rumor is. Boomstick says that he won't break trust with his source and also told C Money to keep quiet, but Boomstick says other YouTubers and influencers, including Kay Asante, Harjit Chani, Paris Lily, have all heard the rumor. Boomstick says if this rumor is true, it's, quote, gonna break the internet. It's gonna break bats like Batman and Bane, end quote. Boomstick shared a clue, but worded it in such a way that if you don't know what the rumor is, you wouldn't get it. Let's see what this actual clip is.
Right before we closed out, I can't say on the air what I have heard. It is a secret. I am not going to break trust with the people that told me.
I heard it too, boy.
Keep it to yourself, C Money. Because if what I heard and what C Money heard, and Kay Asante, and Paris Lily, and Harjit Chani, I'm gonna tell you this right now, folks. I'm telling you this right mother effing now. It's
mother effing.
It's gonna break the internet if true.
I'm gonna cry.
It is going to snap the internet in half if what we heard is the last game launching into Xbox Game Pass. Yes. It is going to break backs like Batman and Bane. Yes. But listen, C Money, let's talk about apples and oranges. Xbox Game Pass July versus PlayStation Plus July.
I think that's the whole thing. Now, I hate to be that guy, but whenever you're like talking about a rumor and then you refuse to say anything about the rumor, like it's really hard to take any like anything they say seriously. Like if I came out right now, if this whole video were instead like, guys, I heard something, and if it ends up being true, lots of people are going to have feelings about it. Lock it in. You'd be like, what? How does that? And then like, let's say in 3 weeks, there's some announcement that like, oh, there's going to be a new Mario game launching with the Switch 2 or whatever they call it. And then I come forward again and I'm like, see, I told you, I was alluding to it there. I was hinting at it. You'd be like, no, that doesn't, no, like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. So I don't know why this is what springs this discussion, because the discussion over Helldivers 2 coming to Game Pass is in the same category of discussions that like Starfield is coming to PlayStation. Everybody's heard people talk about it, and I think it probably has been discussed within like Phil Spencer circles, and they've brought it up like, would it be worth it? Is the blowback going to be too bad? What do we do? And I just don't, like, there's just no reason to put any weight into it. Because it's thrown around so casually, there is no good reason to think that it's the case. It may be true, and it may end up being the case, but there's no reason for you to do anything with that information right now, because it's just words. You know, like right now, if I asked you, the old example is like gauging whether something's worth buying and believing in. If I told you right now there is an asteroid in the Kuiper Belt swirling around our solar system that is shaped exactly like the teapot that Jim got Pam in the office. Okay? It's shaped just like this. The asteroid is identical. Let's even say it's green. Let's even say it's green. It's like oxidized copper. There's an asteroid that looks just like this. It may be the case that that is true. There may be an asteroid that looks exactly like this floating in the Kuiper Belt. But you will never, ever be able to prove that that is the case or verify that it's not the case. It's just a claim. It's just something somebody said, that there's an asteroid that looks like this. It's the same thing with Helldivers 2 on Game Pass. It's like, yeah, you said something. Might end up being the case. I've heard people say that too, but there's no reason to actually believe that that's true. And for you to then, after the fact, go back and be like, see, I told you, that's not a verified prediction, because there was no prediction here. It's just somebody saying that they heard somebody say something. And you notice they always seem to remember when there's a random thing thrown out that lines up with something that happened, but they tend to forget very, very quickly when they throw out stuff like Starfield's coming to PlayStation 5, and then that doesn't end up happening, but instead these other games end up going. So I just don't put much weight into these types of things when people are like, I've heard somebody say it, it's a rumor. It's not even a leak. They're not even claiming it's a leak. They're saying they've heard people talk about it maybe being a thing. And if like that is the lowest of the lowest barrier to entry, but it's even lower than that because they didn't even say what the rumor was. They are saying that they heard something, and then it's up to you to connect the dots that they're talking about this particular rumor, which is what's hilarious about it. What are the clues he dropped? Boomstick referred to the biggest game this year arriving as the last game added to Game Pass this month. This game is also playable now on PC and PlayStation. Now, some of you may think that the game being mentioned could be Stellar Blade. While Shift Up recently had a successful IPO off the back of Stellar Blade's success, there's actually a more obvious possibility. As we reported last April, Special Nick Baker claimed in an episode of the Xbox Era podcast that preliminary discussions started about bringing Helldivers 2 to Xbox. There have been no rumors about Stellar Blade or other PS5 exclusives coming to Xbox. Of course, there have been other games that arrived to Xbox after being console exclusive to PlayStation before, but in the case of Final Fantasy XIV or Persona, the respective developers already announced those games, and Persona even came to Game Pass. This rumor also comes up just after we learned that Helldivers 2 lost 90% of their players after peaking as one of the game's biggest games of this year. In the same way that we can understand why Microsoft handpicked 4 games that came to PlayStation, we can see why Sony would be willing to bring Helldivers 2 to Xbox. What would be really interesting if this ended up being true, though, is that PlayStation seems to be very insistent on having PlayStation Network accounts like signed in for PC players and for anybody playing their games. And so it's really funny to think of needing to sign into your PlayStation account on your Xbox to play Helldivers 2. Which would be just funny. I guess, stranger things have happened. As the Xbox Era hosted months ago, I don't know what that means. Helldivers 2 feels more like an Xbox game than a PlayStation game. What does that even mean? If Helldivers 2 comes to Xbox, they may regain some of the success they had the first time before they region locked the game on PC. Yes, it's still unavailable in countries without PSN, even after they backed off a PSN requirement. There are more regions that have Xbox accounts than PSN accounts, and more importantly, the Xbox player base will definitely have some gamers who will jump onto this game if it follows them to their platform. Some fans may not be happy about it, but we think what matters here is is if it's best for Helldivers 2 and its studio, Arrowhead. I mean, maybe maybe. Yeah, the other article from April, they're in early talks to bring Helldivers 2 to Xbox. Like, anything's possible with the new Sony leadership, but just that, anything's possible. They might do it, they might not. It's going to be really interesting to see what they decide. Because if they open that door, like, are they then bringing Concord to Xbox as well? Like, are they bringing all of these other live service games that they're working on to Xbox? Are they going to start bringing it day one? Are they going to start, like, what's the plan? At this point, what we know is that these games are really expensive to make and that the studios are really struggling to recoup the money spent on development. So publishers are looking to get games in more hands to help recoup some of those development costs. And if they do that by bringing it to Xbox, that could be one way of doing it. But let's also just, address the elephant in the room. Xbox as a platform, a console platform, is not like it's not some panacea for struggling games. PC in some ways I think is. If you have a game on console that's kind of doing okay, and then you bring it to PC and it takes off, yeah, you're set. As we saw with Helldivers. Helldivers 2 was way more popular on PC than it was on PlayStation. But bringing it from PC and PlayStation to Xbox, I don't think actually moves the needle hardly at all. In my humble opinion. That's just maybe I get flack for that, but I really don't think that that's gonna do that much. So anyway, that's been rumored, and there's like Xbox podcasts and people that are talking about it being a thing and how everybody needs to get ready for the big internet breaking announcement. But they've said that it would be by the end of this month, so they've got like 2 weeks for it to happen. And we'll see. We'll see. Xbox is a shooter platform. An indie game made by 6 people sold more than 100K. Oh, the crap, what's that called? It was all over TikTok. It's selling over. Oh, somebody deleted their post. Selling over 100,000 Xbox copies in less than a month might not be huge in your view, but to us, a team of 6 indie devs with no publisher, it's absolutely monumental. Yeah, which is cool. But I mean, again, if we're talking about moving the needle on a game that cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make, like 100,000 copies is certainly respectable for an indie studio with 6 devs. Nobody's doubting that. It's not even respectable. It's very, 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 very impressive. But for like PlayStation, does that all of a sudden like justify the brand damage of bringing all of these first party live service games over? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It might be totally worth it to do it that way. Time will tell, because you better believe they're running all sorts of polls and internal metrics trying to figure out if it makes sense. Because if it does make sense and it's going to print money, then yeah, hell yeah, do it, bring it over. But it's going to be a big move if they end up deciding to do it, because it has all those cascading effects where it brings up the question of, okay, so Helldivers 2 is going over. What about Concord? What about Fair Games? What about all these other games? Are they coming day one to Xbox as well? Like, how does this go? And they've got to have a clear strategy laid out, I think, from the outset. And I think it'll also be genuinely really, really funny to have people sign into PlayStation accounts to play a game on their Xbox. I just think that'll be funny. He took my thing.